From Ticker News with Aaron Young, this is Ticker Today.
Hello, thanks for joining me. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says the US economy is still strong but warns it's under pressure from President Trump's tariff strategy. Powell noting the tariffs could fuel rising inflation and dampen economic growth, adding to an already volatile outlook. China's economy, meanwhile, holding steady in early 2025, but Trump's tariff hikes now beginning to have a serious impact. California has filed a lawsuit to block President Trump's sweeping tariffs, accusing the administration of overreach and economic harm. YouTube has been exempted from Australia's proposed under-16 social media ban, drawing backlash from rival platforms. And it's been a pretty tough day for investors. Tech shares dropped sharply Wednesday, the Nasdaq tumbling 3.1%, Nvidia plunging nearly 7%. You're watching Ticker Today, the latest news, business and tech shaping the world. Let's get started. First today, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says the American economy remains robust, but it faces challenges from President Trump's tariffs. Powell highlighted that the tariffs could lead to higher inflation and slower growth, contributing to an uncertain economic landscape. The uncertainty has now resulted in a turbulent trading environment on Wall Street, particularly affecting the tech sector. Powell noted that ongoing policy shifts create volatility, leaving markets unsure of future impacts. Here he is.
As that great Chicagoan Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. We continue to analyze the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We understand that elevated levels of unemployment or inflation can be damaging and painful for communities, families, and businesses. We will continue to do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals.
Meanwhile, China's economy showed resilience earlier this year, but Trump's escalating tariffs are now starting to bite. As US-China trade tensions rise, economists predict sharp slowdowns for both economies despite early signs of growth in Beijing.
China's economy posted solid growth in early 2025, expanding by 5.4% in the first quarter, driven by surging exports, infrastructure spending, and a burst of industrial production. But that momentum may be short-lived. Economists are slashing forecasts as the full weight of Donald Trump's latest tariffs begins to bite. The US has hiked duties on Chinese goods to over 100%, aiming to choke off trade and pressure allies to limit business with Beijing. Export orders from America are already falling, shipping volumes are down, and Chinese wholesalers are reporting a sharp drop in US demand. In response, Beijing is planning to ramp up domestic stimulus, with heavy investment in infrastructure and trade-in schemes to boost consumer spending. Even so, forecasts from UBS and Goldman Sachs suggest growth could slow to just 3.4% this year. The tariff war is now dragging on both economies, with fears of a global ripple effect.
And China has signalled a willingness to engage in trade discussions with the US, provided there's mutual respect despite the White House's announcement of a hefty 145% tariff on its imports. As tensions now escalate, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expressed optimism for clarity on tariffs and trade agreements in the coming weeks as President Trump pauses certain tariffs to facilitate negotiations. Meanwhile, both nations are increasing import duties on each other, compounding the challenges faced by global firms as well as the tech sector. Meanwhile, California has launched a lawsuit aiming to halt President Trump's aggressive tariffs on foreign trade, claiming misuse of power and financial damage. The tariffs include a 10% levy on goods from all countries and a staggering 145% on Chinese imports, with some temporarily paused. China has retaliated with its own 125% tariffs as well. The EU also preparing to respond. The lawsuit argues that the authority to impose tariffs only lies with Congress, not the president, highlighting the chaotic impact on the economy, including significant losses in the stock market. A US House committee has branded the Chinese AI firm DeepSeek as a significant threat to national security, urging Nvidia to disclose chip sales linked to the startup. The report highlights DeepSeek's connection to the Chinese government and suggests it collects user data while curtailing information based on Chinese law. Lawmakers expressed concerns over DeepSeek's acquisition of thousands of Nvidia processors, potentially bypassing US export controls. As scrutiny now grows over Chinese tech ambitions, DeepSeek's rise has challenged the notion that cutting-edge AI development requires vast resources. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the opposition leader Peter Dutton faced off in their second leaders' debate surrounded by vocal protesters. Analysts are split on who just won, with some declaring Dutton the clear victor. Others criticised both leaders for defensive performances. After the debate, each party claimed victory and accused the other of dishonesty, highlighting the intense political rivalry at the moment. Dutton acknowledging a mistake regarding comments on Indonesia and Russia, while Albanese defended his leadership amidst questions about energy prices and local issues. Here they are.
Anthony, your government has modelled negative gearing changes and CGT changes.
Well,
the Treasurer has done that.
That's not right.
Well, it is
the public
actually
service.
right.
Well, under our public service, we actually value the public service, and we value them coming up with ideas and doing assessments. That's what's happened.
I can't
but
believe
I have
that,
been
to be
very
honest.
clear. I have been very clear about what our position is and why that is the case.
Was it modelled?
It certainly wasn't commissioned by us to do so.
It was modelled by the government. It was that's publicly available. This Prime Minister has a problem with the truth, and it's not just in relation to this debate. There are many aspects that you could pick up during the course of this campaign.
Well, we might come
where
to
the
some
Prime
of those.
Minister has just misled the Australian people.
YouTube has been granted immunity from Australia's upcoming social media ban for users under 16, sparking outrage amongst its competitors. The Australian Communications Minister promised YouTube the exemption ahead of a formal consultation, leading rivals like TikTok and Snapchat to criticise the decision as anti-competitive. The new legislation, set to be among the strictest globally, aims to regulate prominent platforms popular among Australian children. Despite YouTube's carve-out, the government has the power to modify which companies are affected by the rules. TikTok in particular has voiced strong objections, likening the situation to banning soft drinks for minors while giving Coca-Cola a free pass. Tech stocks took a big hit Wednesday with the Nasdaq plummeting 3.1%, Nvidia down 6.9%. It follows Nvidia's warning of a $5.5 billion charge due to new US restrictions on exporting certain AI chips to China. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell also raising concerns about the challenges facing the US economy amidst ongoing trade tensions. Retail sales surged unexpectedly by 1.4% in March as consumers rushed to make purchases before potential tariffs hit. Meanwhile, concerns over shipping tariffs led to a 7.7% drop in shares for JB Hunt Transport Services.